Welcome back, guys. Today we're gonna go over all the things on this project that worked and didn't work and what we're gonna do next with it. Let's do it. I started this project 4 months ago with a motorcycle that had been sitting for 5 years and was brought over here with a tow truck. It didn't start, didn't run, I had no idea what conditions it was in. And that was our base for this project. And 4 months later, as we look at it now, there are several things that occurred during the process that I'd love to go over. Some of the things that worked and didn't work, and some of my main lessons that I learned from this bike. So let's start with doing the deal. I was very lucky with the deal that I got with this bike. With all project bikes, I always try to start with obviously the lowest barrier. But besides spending the least amount of money for a project, you want to make sure that the project has plenty of potential to give you a return at the end. Now this bike started for under $2,000. One of the things that really worked out for me once the battery was replaced and we were able to understand the mileage was that this only had 8,000 miles on the clock. You can get plenty of Ducatis for $2,000 with 40,000 miles and they're at the end of their life. This bike was, as what the owner described, was a low mileage, just stored away, nearly a barn find Ducati Monster. So starting with a good base bike was a key in this project to make sure that we were able to make a more successful project. So as we do a walk around of the bike, she really did end up being a one hell of a looker of a motorcycle. Some of the aesthetic cues that really worked out, in my opinion, were the red frame with the black trellis color scheme. Also the vintage Ducati stickers, decals ended up coming out really well and tying with my Termi exhaust. So this visually looks really good. This is my first bike with with kind of more unique paint rim tape, and I think it looks really good with the way that the whole bike's schemed out. The red lovers also was a good cue. So visually, this bike I think hit a 10 out of 10. The white stripes, that was a good deal that I got for the decals. So the white stripes ended up being really good, and the decals just all came out really good looking. As far as mechanical repairs, one of the big issues we had was just sitting fluid. So we did the oil change, that got rid of all the bad oil in there. We did a full brake and hydraulic clutch flush. That was some of the most disgusting fluid changes I've ever done. It was clumpy and was just destroying any opportunity to have any brake feels. We did a lot of maintenance as well. When the bike sits for that long, it is in the user's manual to change out the belts. So that was the first time I did that job, and it really wasn't too bad, as you guys saw in one of the episodes. So tackling the belts was really good, and this is my first time replacing a rear sprocket. I've done plenty of front sprockets, so it's the first time doing a rear sprocket. That wasn't too hard at all either. Done plenty of bar changes and brake lever change, so that was right up in my alley as far as a garage mechanic. Just really easy skill sets on that side. The tires I was easily changed at a shop, so not a big deal for me. Just took the wheels off and then brought it down there. Replacing the battery, even though it's a pain in the butt in this bike, it is expected. As it sits, this bike to me is completely finished. This is everything I would want to do to a Monster 6960 if I were given one or handed one or bought one. This to me was my dream Monster 696, and it looks and sounds beautifully. Now what to do with it next? I have decided, since this is my 4th Ducati, to sell this motorcycle. I just don't need to own another Monster 696. I've done it. I've owned it. I've ridden plenty of miles on the Monster 696, and I am ready to let it go. So I've done a few joy rides on it with it, and I've realized, you know, I'm good with this bike. So the ultimate outcome for this motorcycle is it's going up for sale. Actually, I'm gonna take it later today to sell it. I have a buyer lined up for it already. So let's go over the numbers of how this project panned out for me. Let's do it. So as far as cost, hard numbers, here we go. I spent $1,600 to get this bike in my garage. I used AAA to get it over here, so that was free. I had to pay $100 to get all of the DMV items transferred to my name, insured, all of that stuff. So $100, we're at $1,700. As far as all of the parts to get this bike the way it is today, I spent $1,000. I found some good deals on eBay, Amazon, used marketplace, and I, just pieced it together. And I ended up at $1,000 worth of parts. So put that all together, this whole bike, as it sits, cost me $2,700. That's it. That's the total project cost of this bike to get it just like this. Overall, I think I did really well as far as managing my costs and managing my cost per impact. There were a few items that I bought that I did not need. After rebuilding my master slave cylinder, I poked around in it and I found out I could have fixed it myself. So I bought an extra slave cylinder that I didn't need. I bought bars that were too short and I couldn't return them, so I ended up buying another set of bars. So that was an extra expense that I really can't use. When I bought my cam belts, I accidentally bought quantity 4 versus quantity 2. So I probably could have bought I could have probably found a cheaper set when it was just quantity 2. So a little bit of waste, but overall I think $2,700 allows me to get out pretty successfully on this. I listed this bike on Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp. I didn't even get a chance to put it on Craigslist, but I listed it for $5,000. I got a lot of interest on it, but and a lot of lowballers, which happens when you want to buy a bike. So I ended up selling it for $4,500. So with my investment of $27 and my sell price of $4,500, I am completely in the green of a profit of $1,800. So 4 months, $1,800, and I got to do a project that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I get to give a good deal to the next buyer. Overall, I think this was a successful project, and I am so excited to deliver this motorcycle to its new owner. Just sold it. Later, dude.
Later, bro.
See you later, man.
Thank you.
So that's it. The series is done. We took the bike, brought it back to life, rebuilt it, rode it, and sold it. Made some money along the way, and that's the end. Thank you so much for watching the whole series. For all of you guys that watched episodes 1 through should be 9 now. Thank you so much, all the new subscribers. Really made this process a lot more enjoyable to me than if you guys weren't around commenting and letting me know what your thoughts of the bike. Please like and subscribe. And if you're wondering what's next, well, since then I've already bought another motorcycle, so don't worry, we have a new project coming in. I've already bought another bike since then, so I'm excited to show you guys the new project. So stay tuned, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next project.